It's great to be with you here this Shabbos on our four-leaf clover Shabbos this is. It's great to be with all of you. It's really echoing, right? We're so glad to be in this space. Shabbat Shalom wherever you are in your space, together with our davening leaders tonight, with our Chazan Shechter and with Noah and with Shoshana. Hi, Shabbat Shalom, good Shabbos, friends. I know behind some of these white letters in black boxes are real human beings with real hearts and real need for Shabbos. I have that sense. If you're anything like me, you're like, TGIS. Thank God it's Shabbos. So good. So last week I spoke about a krex, and I got a couple of emails from people saying, was that a kreplach? Was it a kvetch? What was it? Some Yiddish word I threw out into a krex is an exhale, a sigh. So maybe as we begin to sing together, you notice that on Shabbat, one of the most powerful words for Shabbat is ha-kol. Ha-kol, all. And it begins with that aspirant, that expirant, that a krex. Shavad vayinafash, God rested and then gave out a big krex and said, I worked so hard this week. And as we begin to open up, in so many places, not in all places, but as we begin to open up, and in so many ways our breath now is a little bit freer. Even with all that's going on, Baruch Hashem, at least in some of these spaces in which we're together, there's a sense that, okay, I can exhale a little bit more fully tonight. So I hope that you'll allow that to be present for you without any pushing. Sing with us wherever you are. We have such beautiful music to raise praise for God and for Shabbat and for the Jewish people and for the world tonight. The word Higalena means please reveal, and it's a good way to also chant it to yourself, as if you're turning to your own soul and saying, hey, it's spring today, sort of. Higalena.
Gale, 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 no. Froze ma vie alive.
So our brilliant Rabbi Jill translates the beginning of this psalm, Psalm 96. Sing, start all over again. Shiru.
שיר חדש, שירו אדוני כל הארץ, שירו אדוני ברכו שמו, ועשו יום ליום ישועתו, ספרו בגויים, כבודו, וכל העמים תפילותיו, כי גדול אדוני עולמנו, נורא הוא על כל אלוהים, כי כל אלוהי עמים ולילים, ואדוני שמיים עשה, עוד והדר לפניו, עוד ותפארת במקדשו, עבור אדוני משפחות העמים, עבור אדוני כבוד בעוז, עבור אדוני כבוד שמו, שאו ממחל בול חצרותיו, תשתחוו לאדוני בהדרת קודש, ויחיה לו מפניו כל הארץ, אמרו בגויים אדוני מלך, אהבתי כותב בדמעות, ידין עמים במישרים, ישמחו השמיים ותגל הארץ, ירם הים, יומו מלוך, יעלו שדי וכל אשר בו, אז ירננו כל עשייה, לפני אדוני כי יבער ישפוט הארץ, ישפוט עבר בצדק, ויאמין אמונתו.
So the Talmud teaches, the Midrash, the folk. Sorry, I can't hear myself. So we have in the beautiful teachings of our tradition this very basic question, If you look at chapter 1 of the book of Genesis, the book of Bereshit, the very first thing that God creates is light. Vayom Elohim yi or, let there be light, but only on the fourth day. Because God created the orot, the luminaries, the sun and the moon. The rabbis asked the question that's on all of your minds. No? If the light was created, the luminaries were created on the fourth day, what was the light that was created on the first day? So the rabbis, that light, that was a special light. Adam mabit bo misofa olam v'ad sofo. We could see with that light from one end of the universe to the other, almost like holding a little piece of glass in your hand and seeing the whole world there. They said, but that light was so powerful that God was worried. He saw that there were Risha'im, those who would use the light in the wrong way. They might, misuse that primordial light, that or Haganuz, and so God buried the light. And the rabbis say, where did God bury the light? God buried it and planted seeds of light for the righteous ones, for the ones who are straight of heart, to harvest that light and use it for good. So on every Shabbos we sing, Or Zarur Latzadik. Light is sown for the righteous and for those who are Yishrei Lev, those who have an aligned and open heart. They can access that light. May it be so. May it be so.
Or Zarur Latzadik U'Yishrei Lev Simcha. Or Zarur Latzadik U'Yishrei Lev Simcha.
Tzadikim b'Adonai ve'odu lezecher kodsho. Simchu tzadikim b'Adonai ve'odu lezecher kodsho.
Or Zarur Latzadik U'Yishrei Lev Simcha. Or Zarur Latzadik U'Yishrei Lev Simcha.
Oh, simchu tzadikim b'Adonai ve'odu lezecher kodsho. Simchu tzadikim b'Adonai ve'odu lezecher kodsho.
Zarur Latzadik U'Yishrei Lev Simcha. Or Zarur Latzadik U'Yishrei Lev Simcha.
We invite you, if you're able to, please rise. For Psalm 29, Mizmor David, as you stand on the earth in which the light has been sown, and feel that light moving up through the bottoms of your feet, connecting with the Shekhinah, with the divine presence in the stability, the strength, the earth, the Adamah.
Hamul Adonai v'nevim. Hamul Adonai makom. Ay, ay, ay. Hamul Adonai
as you're seated. Our tradition teaches us that Shabbat is a secret. Beni uben bnei salot hi. It's a symbol, a sign, but then it says le'olam, forever, but also la'aleim, it's hidden. What's the secret of Shabbat? The Raza de Shabbat. Whether we feel it or not, Shabbat points us in the direction of a world that is a world of blessing, a world of holiness, a world of effortless discovery. And so, of course, on Shabbat, as we make our way to the most holy of holies, the Chadodi, we stop to touch the words, Baruch Shem Kavod, these 6 words. And these words are, that's what we're doing, right? Because it was there, yeah. I loved it. I saw it written here. I thought, okay, I really want to daven this tonight. Is that okay?
We actually put it in there.
Okay, good.
Baruch Shem Kivod Malchuto Leolam Vaed Baruch Shem Kivod Malchuto Leolam Vaed Baruch Shem Kivod Malchuto Leolam Vaed Baruch Shem Kivod
Malchuto Leolam Vaed Baruch Shem Kivod Malchuto Leolam Vaed Baruch Shem Kivod Malchuto Leolam Vaed Baruch
Shem Kivod Malchuto Leolam Vaed Baruch Shem Kivod Malchuto Leolam Vaed
So take a minute, everyone, if your eyes are not already closed, just close your eyes, and as you hear Noah noodling and sounds moving, just take a minute here. So much is coming into our senses all the time. Even as you close your eyes, notice that your eyes are still seeing sights. Your ears are still hearing sounds. What might it be like on this Shabbat where we'll read about the clothing of the high priest? What might it be like to just notice the sensation of your clothing on your body this moment? And just like that, so many other experiences and sensations and perceptions that are available if we turn our attention to them. So as we turn our attention to the words of our ancestors, L'chadodi, beloved, come, let's greet the beautiful face of the Shekhinah, of the Divine Presence, in this moment. L'chadodi.
L'chadodi likrat kala b'nei Shabbat nekabela. L'chadodi likrat kala b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Shamor v'zachor b'diburecha tishbi'anu el ha'miyuchad Adonai echad u'shmo echad b'shem u'tiferet v'litila. Hay l'chadodi likrat kala b'nei Shabbat nekabela. L'chadodi likrat kala b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Oh, likrat Shabbat b'chol v'necha ki mekor ha'yachad מראש מקדם מסוכה סוף מעשה במחשבה תחילה. אוי לך דודי לקראת קלה בני שבת נקלה. לך דודי לקראת קלה בני שבת נקלה. הו מקדש מלכים מלוכה קומקצאים מתוך אחיך. וירב לך שבט בעמק הבכה והוא יחמול עלייך חמלה. אוי לך דודי לקראת קלה בני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת קלה בני שבת נקבלה. ויתנערי ליד
בני שבת נקבלה. בני שבת נקבלה.
לך דודי לקראת כלה,
אמבה במבה יא במבה במבה אמבה במבה יא במבה במבה בני שבת נקבלה. לא תבוש
לך דודי, לך כלה.
בני שבת נקבלה. לא תבושי ולא תקבלי מה תשתוכחי ומה תביני ברב יחסו עניי ימין ונבנתה עירתי לה So as we say, Boi b'shalom, shalom, the word shalom, which means peace. At this moment, as the doors are wide open, we show our greatest trust in the power of shalom, the power of peace. As our colleague, Rabbi Citron Walker in Colleyville, Texas, opened the door to give tea, we also open our doors and our hearts, stand ready to support those who at this moment in the tefillah, in the morning of the prayers, would be standing on the outside traditionally because of their mourning period. They might be in Avilut, mourning the death of a loved one, and at this moment we would welcome them into our midst and say, we're here, we're holding you. And that same message is the holding that we express when we pray for those who are in need of healing tonight, who need shlemut, who need something in their lives that needs to be healed. We have so many different ways of thinking about healing, even in this beautiful synagogue and synagogue. Some might believe the prayers are doing the work. Some might believe the prayers push us to do the work. Whatever your belief at this moment, one thing I know is that when I think of those who are in need of healing tonight, my heart opens and they walk through those doors. And so for all of those who are in need tonight, who walk in with broken hearts and wounds, may they be healed and bound. Healer of the brokenhearted.
Healer of the brokenhearted, binder of our wounds, counter of uncountable stars, you know we are. Harafel ונכבש בעצותיו, ספור אתמול הכוכבים, וכולם ישמע. אנו אלנם רפאנו
source of life, all of these names, and all these images of loved ones of Marsha Gold and Betty Henringer, Johanna Bat Esther, Yehudit Bat Nechama, Shirley Sheva Bat Aliyah El Malka, Eric Miller, Gisela Moreno, and Francisca Momi. And for all of those who need healing tonight, and pray, Hallelujah. And let us say, Amen. Amen. See, my dear friend of mine from Houston has just made her way into, I just saw her and I'm just sending her love right now. And I'm sending all of you love. Because Shabbos on this Shabbat that precedes Valentine's Day, so it's a Shabbat of, I don't know, Yom Ahava, love. We just, Shabbat Friday night is the great, we talk about Shabbat as a prayer service, but it's really just a celebration of Shabbat. It's a love celebration of the love that we have for Shabbat and the power that we have from Shabbat, and Shabbat gives us that power. And so if you're here for the first time, we'd love for you to say hello. The chat area is open for those who are here who would like to say hello. I know that we always get people just sending love back and forth. Go ahead, chat away. It's the one time in the sanctuary that we say, please just start talking. And, yeah, exactly. Just go ahead, start joking around and send love across the pews. We have a couple of announcements, though, too. So while you're chatting away, we're also going to take a look at some important things.
Speed date during.
Is there speed? Speed dating. Nice. All right, here we go. We got some upcoming things that that Celia is going to put up in the screen for y'all, or I don't know who's doing it, but somebody is. And then we'll get back to our welcoming to everybody. Thank Thanks for being so patient. It's not easy to be a moderator. Do people know how hard it is to be a Zoom moderator? It's really hard. Letting people in the door, trying to get stuff up, all this kind of stuff going on. So we're just going to wait until that goes up onto the screen, whenever it does. I need some waiting for announcements music. Come on, guys. You guys have music for everything. Here we go. Oh, there it is. Okay, see? Just one chord, and that's it. Everybody, so this coming February 17th, which is this week, Touchstones. Starting next week, Touchstones on the Path. This is with Shelley Fredman, wonderful lay leader of our community. And also, Never Too Late, the Bar Mitzvah journey is starting on March 1st. That's exciting. Those of you who have never had a Bar Mitzvah or Bar Mitzvah, Bat Mitzvah, any kind of life cycle, so join up, everybody. It's going to be great. It's always the highlight of our educational moment. It's very powerful as well. So take a look at that. Also, everybody, just so you know, upcoming, we're going to be having our Romemu and Mandala Cafe partnership. The community kitchen and winter outerwear distribution is coming up this Sunday. This Sunday, we're so thankful that our very own Rabbi Mira Rivera, who was featured in Shu'ah as one of their chaverim today in their email, really a remarkable piece about a remarkable human being and a remarkable teacher and clergy, is feeling great. I mean, better. I won't speak for her, but she's feeling better. Feeling better. And she will be there, God willing, on Sunday. Something in the Water, a documentary discussion, also March 2nd, just to put that into your planning calendar. And Parenting on a Prayer workshop series. A lot of us parent on a prayer, and it's kind of, we need it. Yes, it's this pandemic has definitely been intense in terms of parenting, and so that should be a very powerful event as well, and we're happy for that to happen. Amy Greenblatt Pesach is doing that. She's from, it's a 4-session series, and Amy is a wonderful educator and rabbi down in Florida, so thank you to Amy for offering that to our community. Continuing in our offerings to this community, Don't Fear the Reaper. Rabbi Scott Perlow is amazing. Don't you think Rabbi Perlow is amazing? I think Rabbi Perlow is just, we're so blessed with clergy, aren't we? God, thank you for all these amazing clergy in our team, in our midst, in our team. Rabbi Perlow, the rabbi in Brooklyn is going to be teaching on death and what comes next, right? Don't want to miss that. And Shabbat cooking class with Vered Gutman. There's good stuff happening in Brooklyn. I think that's true. And lastly, everybody, thanks, Rabbi Colorescus. Purim. If you can't beat him, Purim. It's going to be awesome this year, guys. March 16th, Wednesday, March 16th. It's going to be a family Purim carnival in the Romemu Center. Wow, I just love saying that. I'm going to cry, but I'm not. It's like, can't wait. Awesome. 2 years since we closed down. God willing, everything should continue to be the way it is. We're going to be opening up for Purim Megillah reading in the Romemu Sanctuary. And we're looking forward to that happening and being, in person. We're thankful to Romemu member Rich Orloff, who's created this wonderful Purim spiel that's going to be off the charts. Esther in the spotlight. And tomorrow morning, we'll have our open book at 8:45, followed by services that are online only. But guess what? Guess who's back from Israel, everybody? Our very own Nadav Lev, the remarkable member of our team, guitar virtuoso, heart of gold, and he's living in Israel, back in Israel, but he's coming for the high holidays, and he's going to be with us tomorrow morning, God willing, for our services, and that should be super exciting as well. Okay, let's turn to some folks here who are in the chat area. People have been talking in shul, which we said was okay. Let's see what they said. Let's see. I should make this bigger here so I can see it. Let's get to that time in my life. All right. Karen Rokard. Have not seen that name in so long. Karen Rokard, bless you. Good to see you from, Berkeley. First Romemu Seder at the 92nd Street Y. First holistic Seder. We used Karen Rokard's Santa Cruz Haggadah. Bought like a ton of them. Amazing, amazing teacher, amazing, beautiful person. Shabbat Shalom to all of you who are in here from Sao Paulo and from the little Zoom rooms. Amy is in Bethesda. Shulamit, let's see. Go around the room, everybody. Larry, Levy says, Shabbat Shalom to each of you for this beautiful and meaningful start to Shabbat. Your spirit is resounding here in Baltimore. Shabbos to Jamie. And we're going to lift up your mother who passed away this Sunday during our Kaddish. Thank you so much for being here. Look at all these wonderful people. Anybody here for the first time, of course, Joni Miller is welcoming everybody. Thank you, Aunt Joni. And looking through here, so it's good to see you, Janice, Sharon, and Judy. We're going to get ready for Baruch Hu and for Ma'ariv. If you can stand, please rise. As we look around this beautiful Zoom room, if you'd like to turn on your camera too, that might be a good moment now to have you turn on your camera, just so we can see some of your folks and just some of the Pnei Shabbat and the Kabbalah, just the faces of Shabbat. Bracha and Carol, and Roberta and Karen and Judy, Lauren and Jeremy. So beautiful yesterday with Tamar. Can't wait for next week. Ooh, we're going to announce that at the end of services. That's going to be, well, in case you don't stay till the end of the services, next week is going to be a bat mitzvah that we've been waiting for quite a while. And thank God it'll arrive next week. Tamar Katz.
Mazel tov, mazel tov.
I know. Can't wait.
Let's learn Jeremy tomorrow.
I know, amazing. There they are. It's going to be so beautiful. Chevra, the community will be here, and your family will be here. Shabbat shalom to Nikki and to Alyssa, our family, Mishpucha in Brooklyn, and to Felice and Alex and Noah. I see Noah. Shabbos to Jessica and Alina, and just wish I could just keep calling them out, our friends here in the Zumagad. We wish all of you love, and we stand with you and stand together as we call it out in the name of the sacred, and we hear a response of the sacred. Baruch Hu. Who with her word brings evening and wisdom opens gates. With discernment changes times and turns the seasons. Orders the stars as is the divine desire. Cycle of day and night, rolling light away before darkness, and darkness away before light, passing away the day and bringing it in the night. Dividing darkness and light, the one who holds many are you, you who live and exist in all things. Always guide us on our journey. mitzvot, chukim mishpatim, with a love that transcends time and space. You breathe us each minute and each moment into life. You are the one who wakes us and who helps us to lie down. Your wisdom and your connections. Kihim chayinu, v'orech yameinu, uvahem nege, yomam v'layla. Yavadcha tasim mimenu, avam ba'olamim, Baruch atah Adonai, Ohei v'amo Yisrael. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם, בשבנך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובישעריך. We continue with the second paragraph of the Shema. והיין שמות ישבו על מצוות השם. In the morning and in the evening, remind yourself, your actions create the world you live in, and the actions of others create the world we share. Don't forget to remind yourself so that you don't forget. And in forgetting, run after your ego. Make choices based on greed and superficial need. But the deep need, the need for love, the need for connection will be erased and forgotten. למען יראו ימיכם וימי בניכם, על הדבר שהשבענו על אבותיכם ונתתם כי מהשמיים אותו היום מאדוני. אל משה לאמור דבר אל בני ישראל ואמרת להם יצאו להם תיתין. Okay, baby, they can do it. למען תזכרו ועשיתם מקום מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם, אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים. אדוני אלוהיכם אמן. ומלכותו ברצון קיבלו עליהם משה ומרים ובני ישראל, לך ענו שירה בשמחה רבה ויעמדו כולם.
Lieve mogen wij in Adonai.
Sukkot Shalom Aleinu Ve'al Kol Yisrael Ve'al Kol Yoshevei Tevel Ve'al Yerushalayim. Please rise if you are able. Shabbat לעשות את השבת לדורותם נבינו ובני ישראל יתברך ישתבח, יתפאר יתרומם יתנשא, יתהדר, יתעלה ויתהלל, שמי דקודשה בריחו, לעילא מלכל ברכסה, ושיר עשה, תוש וחסה, ונכם עושה, דם יום יום, and let us say, I invite you to stand with us or sit in our own reflections, the traditional Amidah, the words for the Friday night liturgy, or your own words, your own presence with God as you understand God, as we stand together. am home.
Shabbat Shalom. It's so good to be here, standing in the sanctuary with all of you, and with all of you, we've arrived in Shabbat, in the shlemut, in the wholeness of Shabbat. Recently, my husband and I were watching a video of Thich Nhat Hanh, the famous Vietnamese Buddhist monk and renowned spiritual teacher who died on January 22nd. May his memory be blessed. The video was entitled, "Surrender to the Present Moment." He started with these words, speaking in his inimitable, sweet, and hushed voice, reading from a note card. He said, "Good morning, dear Sangha. Today is January 14th, the year 2004. We are in the Deer Park Monastery during our winter retreat. Deer Park is a monastery he founded in California." And then he looked up, and staring directly into the camera, he said the following. "Last week we learned the Gatha, which I've learned means song or verse in Sanskrit. I have arrived. I am home. In the here, in the now, I am solid, I am free. In the ultimate I dwell." He then proceeded to give an hour-long talk without looking at a single note. At some point, my husband turned to me and said, for the date and location, he needs a note card, but for an hour-long talk, he doesn't need a single note? My husband is an investigative reporter. He doesn't miss a beat. My husband and I discussed that Thich Nhat Hanh seems to live on a different plane of reality than the rest of us. As he himself says, Thich Nhat Hanh, in the ultimate. So much so that for basic details of the world we all live in and don't think twice about and don't need note cards for, he needs to read them off a card. I mean, he needs to take notes on that and just try to remember where he is and when it is. But what is second nature to him is spiritual reality. He can as easily talk about spiritual reality as the rest of us can say, I'm in New York City, it's February 11th, 2022. So I've been binge watching a lot of his videos, if you can binge watch Thich Nhat Hanh. It's not exactly like Netflix, but I'm finding it strangely exciting and compelling. And he describes the place that he lives, the kingdom of heaven, and I know for some of us, kingdom is a stumbling block, so if you can, translate it in your mind so you hear the deeper truth of what he's saying. He describes the kingdom of God in this way. The kingdom of God is available to you in the here and now. But the question is, are you available to the kingdom? Our practice is to make ourselves ready for the kingdom so that it can manifest in the here and now. And in fact, that's kind of what I've been feeling in Tefillah tonight, that something of divinity is manifest here and now, is dwelling amongst us. You don't need to die in order, that's good, in order to enter the kingdom of heaven. In fact, what you need to do is to be truly alive in order to do so. Elsewhere, he calls this kingdom, the pure land of the Buddha, saying it's not just an idea, it's something, he says, that you can taste, you can touch, you can live in your daily life. Which I think brings us directly to the parsha that we're in, and also last week's parsha, which talk all about the building of a sanctuary for God to dwell in. And in fact, God shows Moshe a blueprint for the sanctuary up above, a tavnit, right? A kind of paradigm for what we're building below, for this sort of divine image that we're making manifest below. And in this week's parsha, all about the priestly clothes. Sometimes, I will confess to you, even though I'm a rabbi, I read these chapters and I kind of go to sleep or get really sleepy, and it's hard to really sustain my attention. But then, when I think about what it's really about, that God wants God's presence to dwell amongst us, that God wants to be closer to us, I wake up and I want to know, wow, that's how they do it? That's how they did it? How do we do that? How do we manifest God's presence amongst us? How do we create a sanctuary for us, for God to live amongst us? So that in itself is radical. But what I want to talk a little bit about is the traditional approach to these chapters, something even more radical and having to do with time. So the way the Torah is laid out, the children of Israel stand at Sinai, and then they receive all these laws called mishpatim. Right? They hear the Ten Commandments, the laws called mishpatim, and then they're given or Moshe hears the instructions for the tabernacle. Again, these two portions that we're in. Then, right after that, the children of Israel, so anxious about Moses' presence not being with them, and kind of terrified by the power of God's presence and having lost their intermediary, they create a golden calf. And after that, Moshe sees it, shatters the tablets, they're punished. There's some kind of forgiveness and rapprochement between Moses and God and the people, and Moses is given a second set of tablets, and right after that, they build the sanctuary. So between the ideal or the instructions for the sanctuary and the real is this sin and this shattering. But Rashi says something different. Rashi looks at these chapters and says no. And he uses a principle that's called ein mukdam u'muchar b'Torah. There is no earlier and later in the Torah. It's a rabbinic principle. And Rashi says no. The instructions for the tabernacle weren't given before the golden calf, the sin of the golden calf, but they were given right as Moshe was coming down the mountain with the tablets, with the second tablets, which were, the tablets that testified to God forgiving God's people. And that was the day of Yom Kippur. And the next day, the people started building the tabernacle. So these are two very different understandings of the narrative. But before we even sort of try to approach what's going on here, I just want to think about, what is Rashi doing here? How can he possibly rearrange the narrative? And what is this rabbinic principle that says, ein mukdam u'muchar b'Torah? There is no earlier and later in the Torah. So we're beyond now chronology, right? We've transcended chronology, and it reminds me of the ancient idea of time in the Greek world. Two ideas: one, chronos, which lies at the heart of chronology, and one, kairos, which is spiritual time. And I want to quote for a moment a professor of the philosophy of religion named Lonnie Cleaver, who wrote in a magazine called Artella in 2003. Chronos is sequential time. Chronos is the time of clocks and calendars. It can be quantified and measured. Chronos is linear, moving inexorably out of the determinate past towards the determined future. and has no freedom. Kairos, on the other hand, is numinous time, time that's chock full of presence. Kairos is a time of festivals and fantasies. It cannot be controlled or possessed. Kairos is circular dancing, time back and forth, here and there, without beginning or ending, and knows no boundaries. Now think for a moment about time. How often do you feel like you're in a forced march, right? That you're in this sort of flow of time from birth to death that inexorably just leads you in one linear direction, and you're imprisoned by that time. On the other hand, what Judaism does and what the rabbis did is giving us a gift of another kind of time, of spiritual time. So think about, like, even the Kiddush that we're going to say later tonight, right? Zikaron, L'Maaseh Breshit, right? Shabbat is testimony, is commemoration to the creation of the world, right? God creates the world in 6 days and then rests, and we imitate God by resting on the seventh day. We've completely entered mythic time, right? Where is Shabbat in the world? Nowhere except in a myth that we're all living in that holds us, that holds us. In these ways, in Judaism and in other traditions, time becomes much more than linear, much more than a straight line from birth to death, which means, and I think this is exciting and hopeful, even if I'm older, which I am, or God forbid, sick in some way, or have limited time for some reason on this earth, there is hope because worlds wait for us at every moment. Right? Every moment we can enter the mythos of leaving Egypt or standing at Sinai or witnessing God creating the world. I mean, the wonders are infinite here, which I think is why we all dive into Torah study, right? We're all like standing at Sinai again and again. So to go back to Rashi, what's at stake for Rashi in this rearrangement of the narrative, in this audacious move to take what is before the golden calf and put it after the golden calf? Again, the instructions for the tabernacle. So think about it for a minute. The people took the gold from Egypt and they used it to create a golden calf. And then God came to them and said, no. Listen, I understand what you need here. You don't really have to sin. I understand that you need something concrete in order to encounter my presence. And if you think about sin this way, as opposed to people sinning or doing something wrong, it's like, what did they really need? And how did they miss the mark? And what can I give that person? Like, God forbid, like an addict, right? I don't think an addict is a sinner in any way, but what can we give them so they can realign their life, towards integrity and wholeness and sanctity and connection? What can we give that person? So that's Rashi's understanding. The other understanding, the way the Torah is laid out, that the instructions for the tabernacle come before the golden calf, is that the healing, the trufah, the medicine for the sin is always waiting for us. It's baked into the very fabric of existence. So no matter what we've done, we have to figure out what was that energy and how can I repurpose it, and that the universe is inviting us to do that. I've been feeling so much lately that the world is in need of great healing. I mean, 2 years of a pandemic, or almost 2 years. This sort of loss of connection, or loss of embodied connection. Wonderful to connect on Zoom, but it's a loss not to have a lot of people in one room and sort of feel the presence of God dwell amongst us in that particular way. But there's also the healing of like individuals who are shattered. Like I know a family who's been shattered by a suicide, and another one who's shattered by years of betrayal that just came to light. Or another, a friend of mine who did something that he did not mean to his family and hurt them so badly. Where is the healing? And I don't believe that healing is something easy. It's not an easy fix, right? But if we sort of proceed in our lives with the understanding and the assumption that healing is waiting for us, that can be sort of a powerful corrective and give us so much deep hope. Perhaps to heal, we need to move into a deeper plane, into a realm where God's presence dwells. Move from Chronos to Kairos, the place and you can hear it in his deeply calm, gentle voice, Thich Nhat Hanh lives. Like the rabbis, freeing ourselves from the linear time that can imprison. So I listened to I've listened to a lot of them, but one more video that I want to tell you about and then bring this in for a landing. Thich Nhat Hanh has a video that's called something like, how to change the bad energy of bad habits. And what he says is that when we move into that healing mindful zone, everything we do not only heals us, but our parents and our ancestors, right? Every bite we take in this sort of ultimate zone can rectify us, our parents, and generations before us. Talk about playing with time. Wow, right? That's ein mukdam u'meuchar. There's no early and late in the world. So to, again, approach life in that way and not to think that sins are, something that will sort of damage us and shatter us forever, and that all is lost, but that we can stand here and help not only ourselves and the generations that come afterwards, but all the generations that came before. What a hopeful vision of life. So instead of living in chronological time of dates and places, let us move deeply into mythic time, the realm of presence and reverence and awe, to echo Thich Nhat Hanh at the beginning. Let us go home to the place that the divine dwells in intimate spaces of presence, where a deeper plane of time manifests, where the presence, the very presence, the holy presence that lives amongst us can say, I have arrived, I am home, in the here, in the now, I am free. Shabbat shalom.
והשבותה אל לבביך כי אדוני הוא האלוהים.
השב אותה אל לבביך, כי אדוני הוא האלוהים. אינו מלבדו, אינו נפש זולתו, אינו מלבדו, אינו נפש זולתו. והשב אותה אל לבביך,
כי אדוני הוא האלוהים.
אינו מלבדו, אינו נפש זולתו, אינו Bayomahu Yadonai Echad U'Shmo Echad. On that day, Ya im Shmi Vevav Hei im Zichri, that all of our loved ones are held in that day in a loving embrace of return and re-embrace. On Shabbat, we're told in the Holy Zohar that the souls roam the earth and looking for mitzvot, looking for the warmth of our love for them and for our memories of them. We lift them up. There's an aliyah neshama. So tonight we invite you to notice in the chat area those loved ones who will be placed there by members of our community who are here tonight, loved ones who are being remembered, and also as well on the screen in front of you, we bring to mind Claudia Samowitz and Eugene Litwak, Luc Montagnier, Melvin Arnold Bloom. Alan Bloom's father passed away and had his levaya yesterday. Sally Day Butler, Sandy Liederzal, and Sandy Shmuel, Lev Lieder Shmuel, Shmuel ben Asher v'Shifra. Amitai ben Horin, Betty Spiro Ramey, Eric Brian Dell, Dr. John Spitzer, Irving Gedoldig, and all of these loved ones whose names will appear as well on the screen as we also bring our attention to the chat. Jamie's mother, Jessica sitting Shiva for her beloved uncle, and the mourners' Kaddish can be found on the screen in front of you. If it is your custom to stand for the mourners, please rise to honor that custom. We mentioned one other name, Phyllis O. Schaefer, Zechrona Livracha. Yiskadal v'yiskadash shemei Rabbah, v'yolma divrach yirusei, v'yamlich machusei, v'chayichon v'yomechon v'chayei dechol Beit Yisrael, v'agalav v'zman kori v'imru, Amen. Yehi shmei Rabbah mivorach le'olam yomei almaya, yizbarach v'yishtabach v'yitba'ar v'yitromam v'yitnasei, yisadar v'yisaleh v'yisalal shmei dekutsha brichu, le'lam in kol birchata v'shirata, Tushbechata v'nechemata da'amiran ve'oma v'imru, Amen. Yehi shlom ha'rabah min shemaya v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru, Amen. Aseh shalom b'ramael. V'yaseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'al kol yoshvei tevel, and let us say, Amen. May their memory be for blessing. Diane, were you saying it for someone? Were you saying the Kaddish for someone? For my mom. For your mother? I didn't hear you. I'm sorry. We'll lift up your mother as well, of course, because you're saying Kaddish all year. What a yashar koach to you for bringing Thich Nhat Hanh into our community as well as we have been giving for the last couple of weeks since he passed. For those of you who do not know who the great master Thich Nhat Hanh was, I hope tonight's inspiration will serve you to look on YouTube for something really nourishing and uplifting, like Thich Nhat Hanh, who in many, many ways, if anybody ever knows what the characterization of a chassid or a tzaddik is, a tzaddik, a righteous one, Thich Nhat Hanh was the very embodiment of peace, love, and compassion and realization, really. And so we're so lucky and so blessed to be able to be a community in which the legacy of Thich Nhat Hanh mingles together with the legacy of Rabbi Shlomo Yitzchaki from France, Rashi, the great traditions who wove together in our hearts. And so in the memory of all those righteous ones and also in the memory of loved ones, and in particular those who stood for the mourners' Kaddish, we just say, may the presence of your loved ones be here in Kairos, in the time that is not Chronos, the time that is available on Shabbat, that is, Zikaron Ma'aseh Bereshit, as Rabbi Kollras has taught us, really to be in that presence that we can drop into, that Mishkan, that you said and picked so beautifully, Rabbi Kollras, it's so beautiful. So many of you are so beautiful to see you. And I just have to say, Rav Lach Sheves, it's enough sitting where you are. I can't wait for you all to be back in here holding hands and dancing, which is not to say that those of you who can make it here next week or in the coming weeks, oh, Gewalt, we're not saying you're any lesser, God forbid. It's just there's something about being in person, here physically with each other, to feel each other's presence, as Rabbi Kabbalat said, like to be shoulder to shoulder, the way this is for all of you. It's just a different thing. And so I can't wait. And so, again, to announce that next weekend, God willing, into our space, we have the opening for the community to come and to join us in this space as we'll be opening up again. There are COVID protocols, of course, that will be in place to make sure that we are as minimizing as much of the risk that we can possibly can, and those can also be found on our website. But we are so thrilled. Maybe Celia, if you can find Lauren and Tamar and Jeremy, we could just highlight them for a second, just so everybody can see them in the Zoomagog. Can't wait, Tamar, where are you? Can you find them? I can see them. And there they are. Okay, it's not on. I'll see if it's on speaker view here. There they are. Oh, there they are. Okay, great. All right, we can't wait, guys. Tamar, yesterday was awesome. You were great, right? Awesome. Off the charts. We can't wait. Okay, and we're so excited for your father to be playing piano. I'm kidding. Just definitely not. It's an inside joke, everybody. Jeremy's going to be the Abba, sitting in the pew, kvelling together with Lauren. It's going to be beautiful. We're going to be together. So that's exciting. We have a couple of thank yous to put into our cup of blessings. So I'm going to get that cup of blessing, and then we're going to show some of you the people that we're going to be thanking tonight. Of course, our davening team, Chazan Schechter, and of course, Noah and Shoshana. Without them, it's so beautiful just davening together. Also beautiful to have Cyrus, thank you, on AV, and Celia and Grace behind the scenes, Natalia here on site with Ryan minding the door, Victor Ramirez, Justin Siegel Jr., and Freddie are just making sure this whole place happens. And of course, for the beautiful, beautiful, uplifting sermon this evening from Rabbi Kabbalat Ya'asher Kochech as well. Please rise if you're able for Kiddush. Yom HaShishi, Vayechulu HaShamayim v'haaretz, v'chol tzivam, Vayichal Elohim v'yom HaShvi'i, melachto asher asah, Vayishbot v'yom HaShvi'i, v'kol melachto asher asah, Vayivarech Elohim et yom HaShevi'i, Vayikadesh oto, Kivo Shabbat mikol melachto, Asher bara Elohim lasot. Savri chaverai, Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, Borei pri hagafen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu, v'shabbat kadsho b'yahava
Ratzon imchilanu,
zikaron l'maaseh
Severei yeshis, Ki hu
יום תפילה
lemikra kodesh.
zecher l'tziat Mitzrayim.
Kivanu v'kartam be'odanu, Dashtam im kol ha'amim, V'shava kodshecha, V'ahava u'v'ratzon, Im nichaltanu, Baruch atah
Adonai
Mekadesh HaShabbat. But before we go into V'nafachu, 1 second, I just want to say one more thing before we go into the crazy dance, Gesundheit Shabbos. I had the pleasure of being down in Florida for 2 days this past weekend. It's a story that, it's a trip that I'll never forget. But my friend and I met someone named Lester, and we're never going to forget Lester. But let me tell you something, what Lester said to me and my friend, Rabbi Kabbalat referenced. He kept saying, he's an evangelical Christian, he kept saying, our job in the world is to build the kingdom. That's what he said. Oh. To build the kingdom. And I kept looking at my friend and said, well, what, and the more he talked, he said, everything I do is to build the kingdom. It says, everything I do, I work, build the kingdom. So I sing, build the kingdom. I'm nice to people, build the kingdom. And it just became such a great refrain for us in terms of like, that's what, build the Mishkan. We say, build the Mishkan, bring the kingdom, right? Tiknat Han, bring it here, especially in a month which is Adar, which is Aleph Dar. The one is living with us, and it's all about that v'nahafochu. It's all on its head. And let's go. Here we go. Asher, Asher, Asher yishlitu.
Asher yishletu laYehudim heiba.
Heiba v'soneihem.
Ala v'nahafochu. Asher, Asher, Asher yishletu. Asher yishletu laYehudim heiba. Heiba v'soneihem.
Kazoo. Where's your kazoo?
To the Yehudim, hey, ma, hey, what was I?
Shabbos, good Shabbos, good Shabbos, good Shabbos, good Shabbos, Shabbat Shalom, good Shabbos, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbos, Shabbos, everybody, good Shabbos. Have a beautiful night. Shalom Aleichem. Seischem the Shalom.